Nuclear weapons have changed the ancient art of amphibious warfare. Because a concentration of assault vessels would provide a lucrative target for an atomic bomb, forces must be dispersed. To obtain this dispersal and a later massing of attacking troops, the United States Marine Corps is employing the helicopter in a concept called vertical envelopment. This film was taken during a vertical envelopment training exercise. Here, Sikorsky HR-2S and HUS helicopters, flown by Marine Aircraft Group 26, leave the Marine Corps Air Facility at New River, North Carolina. They will go aboard the USS Boxer, an aircraft carrier. The helicopters will carry Marines and supplies from ship to shore, bypassing areas that normally would be fortified and deploying well inland. The Boxer rendezvous with its copters. First to come aboard is the HUS, a light transport helicopter. This versatile aircraft carries 12 troops or 8 litters on a normal mission. It also is flown by the Navy, the Army, the Coast Guard, and commercial operators. The Boxer is the flagship for the task group conducting the exercise. Participating are Amphibious Squadron 10, the Navy's first fast amphibious squadron, and the 8th Provisional Marine Brigade. The group's destination, the island of Iquitos, east of Puerto Rico. Next comes the Sikorsky HR-2S, the free world's largest production helicopter. Powered by 2 reciprocating engines that can carry as many as 36 troops or a variety of vehicles. In 1956, an HR-2S, with Marine Major Roy Anderson at the controls, set a helicopter world speed record of 162 miles an hour. With the helicopters aboard, a red signal light closes down flight operations for the day, and the Marine pilots go below. The deck crews secure the aircraft for the night. Rotor blades and tail pylons are folded, and tie-down gear is pulled taut. Elevators rapidly lower helicopters to the hangar deck, where they can be stowed and maintained. The Boxer was originally built to carry fixed-wing airplanes. Now it has been converted to an interim helicopter carrier, another indication of the changing face of warfare. The second day out is set aside for carrier refresher landings. With the Boxer steaming on its course, the pilots shoot landings to various sections of the flight deck. 10 landings and takeoffs are required every 6 months for a pilot to retain his carrier qualification. Setting down on a moving platform requires a different technique from that used ashore. The pilot must take into account the wind and the relative motion of the carrier and the helicopter. He also has to be alert to the heavy air traffic and busy deck activity. The bustling flat top has its traffic cops, too. They are the landing signal men, wearing the bright yellow sweatshirts and helmets. Pilots land and take off on their signals, and the split-second timing of the flight deck operation hinges on the deft motions of their hands and arms. A total of 800 landings are logged during the day as the pilots touch down and then climb back into pattern. A milestone in the ship's history is recorded when Major Joe Green comes in for the 11,000th helicopter landing on the Boxer. The Major receives the congratulations of Commodore Herman J. Kostler, Task Group Commander, and Captain E.B. Parker, Jr., Captain of the Boxer. The helicopter performs another daily service for the speeding task group. It provides a physical link between the ships of the group by delivering mail and official papers and transporting personnel. Where landings cannot be made, the helicopter holds a position over the ship and the mail pouches are raised and lowered with pinpoint accuracy. It's airmail all the way, a morale booster for every Marine and sailor waiting for a letter from home. Back on the Boxer, leathernecks work on their gear in preparation for tomorrow's landing. All is in readiness as the setting sun brings down the shade on a productive day. E-Day, the day the fast landing force will go ashore, dawns early for the staff and the control center aboard the Boxer. Long before the troops are awake, there is a final gathering and collating of information on the weather, on the exercise, and on the island of Yekis. In the ready room, the pilots who will fly the mission get a last briefing. Major Frederick A. Vernon, Executive Officer of HMR 264, and Lieutenant Colonel Edwin O. Reed, Commanding Officer, outline the lift. Questions are asked and answered as every man is prepared for his assignment. Over the island of Yekis, meanwhile, Pathfinder troops parachute from an HR-2S helicopter. These are Marine reconnaissance specialists, trained to jump into enemy territory. They reconnoiter the area, gather intelligence of the enemy's capability, mark the landing zones, and direct the helicopters into landing position. On the Boxer, the rising sun lights up a deck alive with men and machines. Deck handlers receive final instructions, and the long hours of training begin to bear fruit. Every man, each a vital cog in the well-drilled team of the copter carrier, moves about his assignment with confidence and dispatch. Similar preparations also are going forward aboard the task group carriers, which have Navy and Marine fixed-wing airplanes. The airplanes will support the vertical assault, attacking objectives and flying cover for the helicopters. Crew chief monitors the spreading of the huge HR-2S blades, an operation which is entirely automatic. Folding of the blades enables the copters to be stored aboard ship or in hangars ashore. Amphibious landings have always been a specialty of the United States Marines. From the American Revolution through Korea, they've carried out more than 280 such operations. With the acquisition of helicopters, their landing forces have unprecedented speed and flexibility. Jeeps and preloaded trailers are brought up to the flight deck. They are driven right into the cabin of the HR-2S to be airlifted ashore. The HR-2S has officially lifted more than 13,000 pounds to an altitude of 6,500 feet. Boarding time arrives for the assault troops. Up from below and on the double come the Marines. The teams are paced by purple-clad combat cargo leaders who run them across the busy deck to their designated helicopters. umbrella turned up. The troops are buckled in their seats. The deckhands pull out the tie-downs. The carrier is headed into the wind and the green light flashes. The lift is on. Helicopter-borne troops are not subject to the vagaries of beach conditions, hydrography, and shore defenses. Instead of slugging their way across heavily fortified beaches, they bypass the enemy's strong points and rely on speed and surprise to land in relatively undefended areas. They can set down far inland, getting well behind the enemy. Widely dispersed objectives as far as 100 miles from the carrier can be seized. For the Marine, there is no climbing down landing nets, no long hours of waiting in assault boats tossed about on heavy seas, no worry about tides or shoals or mines. There is no beach holding. The helicopter eye view of the countryside gives the troops a rare visual appreciation of the terrain they will be operating on. The Marines disembark in good shape and are ready to go to work. The units are organizationally intact and able to operate immediately as a team. They have come ashore 10 times as fast as would have been possible by assault boat or amphibious vehicle. A veteran Marine Staff NCO summed up the general approval of the vertical assault concept by remarking, "I've made a lot of landings, but this is the first one I've made without getting my tail wet." Now come the HR-2Ss with their jeeps and trailers. The clamshell doors are opened, and the jeeps, fueled and ready for service, roll out to give the Marines both mobility and supplies. All of the equipment used by the assault troops is helicopter transportable. Such things as fuel cells, water purification units, ammunition and rations are all packaged or containerized to be carried by helicopter. Round and round goes the unique sky train, shuttling back and forth between the carrier and the landing site. The build-up mushrooms with every turn of a rotor blade. Helicopters returning to the carrier do double duty by transporting the sick, the wounded, the injured, and even prisoners of war. The fast-moving combat troops are dropped with only enough supplies to meet their immediate needs. Additional provisions are delivered later. While the Marine can never be divorced from his pack, it has been lightened by the knowledge that he can be resupplied quickly. From its earliest days, the helicopter has been a natural skyhook. People with logistic problems have automatically hung cargo on copters. In Korea, Marines carried a wide variety of supplies on external slings. In the years since, the technique has been further perfected. Now, bulky cargo, which cannot be fitted into the cabin easily, is moved fast and efficiently as an external load. The landing exercise over, the workhorse copters return to the Boxer. The vertical assault has been a success. The Marines and Navy teamed up to transfer troops and equipment with clock-like precision. Compared with the beach assaults of World War II, the vertical envelopment concept seems radical. It represents no departure from sound military precepts, however. Its fundamental feature is that of dispersal, coupled with the ability to concentrate rapidly to fight. It is evolutionary rather than revolutionary. It meets the requirements of both nuclear and non-nuclear warfare. The development of the helicopter becomes as important an advance to tactical mobility as the atomic nuclear discoveries were to firepower. The United States Marine Corps, the nation's force in readiness, thus keeps pace with the changing times. By utilizing new tools, new ideas, and new concepts, the Corps will continue to meet its security responsibilities today, tomorrow, or any time a challenge is raised.